Hello and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to watch and play a little bit of Bootstrap. Basically, you guys are getting dragged along with me while I explain how to play Bootstrap in 3 levels of play. And first map, we are going to look at Caramel Rivers. This is also a video in preparation for the upcoming tournament on patch 1.9.9c. So if this might not be applicable for you in the future, I apologize, but yeah, let's get on with the show. And first level, we are just looking at a entry level, like a beginner strategy that you could try to play to get going with Bootstrap and like just try to be a bit solid on the map and do some basic tactics basically. Okay, so let's head on into the game. I hope my speed is 50. Yes, and we're always starting to place granary. I always go right to left with these. Like the next one is farm, right? I would not place the wheat farm right away. I would just place some apple orchards at the start. Put down some hunters maybe. And then you want to spread your woodcutters so that the entrance of the woodcutter is facing the tree that you want to cut. There's some trees over here. There's some trees over here. Yeah, and then you get to zoom out and take a look at the battlefield really. Put down your mercenaries post, and maybe we can put one more woodcutter over here. Put down the market. Now I have 10 wood left. So I want to sell each food type 3 times. Put down 20 taxes and buy 15 more wood for the quarry and an oxen. Now I remove my stockpile. Put it right here next to the wheat farm. That is going to be placed soon, as soon as the woodcutters arrive. And I'm going to put my flag with the 3. I select the number key 3 and I control N to my mercenaries post. Select the mercenaries post and I'm spreading some units around. The Lord also wants to be a defender for your economy. And yeah, 5 slingers are definitely not enough. One thing you also want to do for sure is harass your opponent. I'm just simulating this by sending this assassin here and buying 4 slaves, 2 on each side, and like you of course want to maybe control group them 1 and 2 and 3, and then yeah, the first wood deliveries are about to come in. We still have some peasants to recruit more slingers to defend your economy. I definitely recommend defending the most important choke points. Like on this map, for example, you can really find some choke points to defend and spread your slingers out so that you see any assassins sneaking by and like you have a visual notice of when assassins come. Yeah, and with the first wood deliveries, just put out some more hunters maybe. Like so. Put down 3 more apple farms or so, maybe even more. And I would also recommend to get the wheat farm going. Place like 3 more houses. Place your oxen. Place your first iron mine. That is also important. Place any additional woodcutters you might need. I definitely recommend placing way more woodcutters now. And yeah, basically just build some mercenaries at the start. You will probably want to micro your slingers around, and you want to now harass your opponent. Simulate this with our control groups. You can double click the control groups to move to the units quicker. And the assassin will just go down here, maybe attack this granary. I don't care really. Like, this red is basically not playing, so let's simulate harassing by sending these units to death there. Now we have the first stone too. And what you want to do, of course, you want to continue echoing up. The pitch rigs here are very profitable as well. But you also want to build your first weapon economy, right? And you can sell more food at the start. If you lose popularity, go back to -2 taxes. Maybe even go to explorations to claim back some of your losses. And yeah, you want to place your weapon economy right next to your stockpile here. And I'm placing it like this. I will place 3 Fletchers. That is, for beginners, probably the best move, to just place some Fletchers. Other than that, you can of course go for pole turners if you have enough wood, that is. And yeah, currently you don't have wood. There's some stone. get wood. And what I also recommend getting at the start is some chapels right next to not directly to your next to your stockpile, so they don't be in the way of your economy, but close to your peasants that are walking by, and especially next to your main economy here. So I'm placing 2 chapels. I need to defend them, of course, so I'll send more slingers out. And yeah, most of the gold that you get at the start, you can sell the first iron, for example. You want to spend into slingers and maybe an archer or something, depending your economy. And yeah, now I have an army of, you can see, 23 slingers, 1 archer. That is way too little. You definitely want to have more army, and you want to spread it all across the map. If you're a bit like if you know how to harass your opponent, you definitely want to attack more with assassins and such. But this is like, yeah, this is basically just the basic setup. And now what you want to do is build more weapon economy to a point where you can see that it's like really giving you the numbers on your opponent. Put on this and 1 dairy farm over here. And as soon as you can build a hops farm somewhere, you also want to build a hops farm. I will just advance my eco out, some more hunters, some more woodcutters, all around the map basically. And yeah, soon this iron mine is also free. Like this map basically is full of resources, so you always have some resources. I would decide 1 hill to conquer. In our case, we probably want to conquer, like, I would just put all the big buildings that are not really that important a bit further out. Yeah. And now you want to cover your choke points with archers. Yeah, now the opponent has like some options, right? They can sneak you with assassins, they can attack you with maybe even just sell all the resources that you don't need at the start. Yeah, we have now bread economy too. Let's set that up. Guys, if it's a bit too much at once. You can always compare with my date here, if you have equal economy at that point. And make sure that when you don't get pressured, you also get that. Now you want to also attack, right? You want to push your opponent. What you can do is you put some archers on the high ground, and that already is usually giving a verb trade. Put some spearmen to defend them as well. And that already gives you kind of a trade that your opponent loses gold on, right? Because they have to push your archers away. They already shoot some of their workers. And if they have their own archers, never push the archers without shields. Just take some, or like, you can push them without shields if you have the numbers, but if they have equal numbers, you probably want to have some shields. So that you want wood, yeah? So build the shields somewhere in the front and then use them to move with your archers across the field. Also, you can unlock some more resources on the map, I guess. And yeah, currently I give no explorations and my religion is kind of not working. Because I don't have enough. But yeah, you want to have now kind of a tactic in mind to kill your opponent, right? And there comes the timing attack. So you basically win the game by sending a lot of troops, right? And at some point, you're probably getting overwhelmed with this many resources that you get. You don't know what to do with all that. You can build more weapon eco, of course, but usually it's best to just use all the weapons you have. Get a big army and attack, right? That is like the simple goal of the game, I would say. Let's assume you have like some troops on the side here. Maybe you lost even the sides, I don't care. But yeah, what you do there is not that important. You place enough houses so you get 24 population. But all the stuff you can sell, right? You even sell some spears maybe. And then you might just send some troops across the map that you want to kill your opponent with. So in this case you can of course go for the infamous Arabian Swordsman all in, which is just building as many Arabian Swordsmen as you can with the rally flag, sending them to your opponent, and then accompanying them by spearmen and archer raids on the side to choke the opponent's economy, and even maybe get some assassins as well, yeah, to choke the economy of the opponent. Just set everything, like just go all in basically, if you don't want to manage more economy. So this is the first level of play, I would say. Just all inning your opponent with all the troops you can build at one point and get a big gold chunk up in these Arabian Swordsmen or something similar. You can also go for Macemen, of course, if you have the echo around. But for that you already need iron production and it's kind of advanced a bit, yeah. To get that far. But yeah, it remains to be seen. Like, of course, if you want to echo more, you can also do that, but it won't win you the game if you cannot hold it, right? The main problem for new players is usually to hold the economy that they've built. And in this case, I would say, yeah, you can just attack all the sides at once. Just focus all your attention on attacking with all the gold you have, and you'll probably win. That is my advice here. Okay, so this is the first level of Bootstrap that we are going to cover here. Let's attack with all these as well. These are getting incinerated right now. But the red will fully fall against this. I don't think it has any chance against our overwhelming attack here. And yes, I mean, this is just the red, right? Yeah, if you want to be a bit more advanced and you don't just set up like this, you actually want some more economy. You want to have like a specific strategy, which I would really recommend. We could go for the next level of play. And for that we will just use the map Fork. I think this is a good map to show what I mean. And yeah, this is kind of the second tier, I would say, of Bootstrap. You need to look out for some more things and I will explain along the way. So let's get into it, shall we? So at the start, of course, you always start with the same way. You just place your granary somewhere close to your food production. And I will set up 4 hunters here. I will set up 3 houses in this time. Send my lord to my granary. Place woodcutters. And yeah, I've already set up the tags as well. You want to free all the farm spots that you can get. And yes, just set up as many woodcutters as you really need. Then you place down your quarry. In this case, I've kind of mixed it up a bit. I don't have any wood, so I replace my stockpile to somewhere that I find more attractive. And I can buy some wood by selling again 3 of each food type, but you can even sell some more of the food types that you get soon. So yeah, that way you can afford the quarry and you can afford the extra wood for your mercenaries post. And now we want to send out a multi-prong attack. You want to usually send out 1 assassin on one side. You can send a flag here, and then you can send the flag somewhere else, and the assassin will still run to the old flag. Just don't forget it. And now you just set them on hotkeys, 1 and 2. And then you also maybe go with a horse archer and some slaves in the front. This will really stress your opponent, yeah? This is like a really stressful attack to hold. And if you deselect them, they also run in their maximum speed. You also want to also only have your slingers defend where your opponent attacks, really. Don't overbuild on them. And you also want to, as soon as you get more food deliveries, build more of the slingers. Just to defend all of the angles that could be attacked as well. You spread 1 or 2 slingers around and have a general supply of slingers in your main area to distribute wherever needed, right? So that is kind of the goal. So we emulate the attack here. We know that the assassins arrive soon, and now we have to re-rally the flag here so that if he arrives, you can press hold, and then he goes to the new flag. And this guy too, we will just send him to the stone quarry here. You can put him on aggressive, but I would not recommend that. Put him and attack the building directly, and you can also like hide from your opponent's slingers by running out of sight, right? We can like incinerate here, and we want to really focus most of our attention on the attacks. And now the first deliveries come in, you can like build some weapon production as usual, but the most wood should go into hard eco, which is also the eco you want to defend, right? You have some more slingers to defend eco here, and yeah, the horse archer patrol strategy, you want to patrol him at like 6 speed. You can see how my assassin is hiding from these archers on top here. Behind the granary, you can always sneak around with your assassins behind buildings. And that way you kind of save them a bit. You can also dodge some arrows by doing the little jiggle walk here. Yeah. And of course, you need to also defend your own granary by like moving your lord around. If you want to make your lord aggressive, you can put them in aggressive and then deselect the lord as well. And then he's also aggressive, right? That is a way to put your lord on aggressive stance. Yeah, now, with all that food, you want to put it to +4 again. And with all that wood, you want to get as many economy buildings as possible. Set up quickly, so you don't waste too much time on it. But you also need to be able to defend them, of course. Don't set them up if there's an assassin lurking by. And yeah, in this case, we just set up all the iron mines here in the back. These two. Have this one over here. I'm not really able to find right now. And this one over here. And of course you want the first hops farm as soon as possible. This is also important because hops is really supporting you for a really higher population later on. And as soon as you get the hops, hops is also really valuable to sell. And you can also buy some wood if you have spare gold, but I would advise to put it into troops instead if you can. I'm usually a bit starving on wood, so I will just buy some wood, place some more hunters. Get some... Okay, I forgot the armory, that is really bad. Get some troops. You can even build some Arabian archers here to defend forward positions. And on this map, the main position you want to grasp is usually this high ground here, because there's a lot of stone. Yeah, you can build the second stone quarry over here. You can also try to get this side, but usually that is contested by your opponent. Yeah. So yeah, while you are busy microing here, your economy is like ramping up, and you can already send the first troops and just send them out immediately. Try to find where your opponent is pushing, and like try to find a defensive line for yourself. Find a high ground that you can hold. Yeah, okay. So far so good, right? Now of course our popularity is dropping, so we want to have the we want to have some chapels around again. And we want to really ramp up production. I'm usually kind of skipping the spearman line. I usually have just like one Poltoner maybe. And going straight into archer and crossbowman economy. And going for that juicy mid game. Where if you have enough economy, you can really ramp up everything and just selling the spears in this case. And I would also go for maces. Maces are one of the strongest units to spike on, like to have a power spike on. And blacksmiths cost 8 stone each, so yeah, you will see it will be fine. Let's put the rations back because we don't have much food left. And yeah, we usually want to defend our hunters out on the field. Don't forget to place enough houses to have some population. Make a clutch defense, right? Okay, so far so good. Like we are not getting any pressure here. And usually in the mid game, like if you skip the spears, you don't have much pressure yourself. But yeah, in the mid game transition, you want to hold as much map as possible before giving up some real estate for your power spike. And the second deliveries from the iron mines, they are really, really profitable. They give you 2 deliveries of iron. Here you can see. The second time they deliver. And that's why it's really the best way to like spike. And maybe even get some horse archers to defend more map. But usually place like 4 to 6 mace production. So this is like just one type of way to get a timing attack here. I will also place, like in case you don't have stone, I'm demonstrating this here. Of course you can wait for the stone. Just buy some stone. Stone is not that expensive. And get your weapon production set up. Don't forget to click the mace button inside here. And the blacksmiths will soon ramp up your production. And this is the time when you get the maces here. this is the time to really get busy on the map, yeah? Really get active on the map. Sell more iron to maybe even buy some leather armor in this case. And yeah, even some stone maybe. And you want to use that power spike the best way possible, yeah? Like, we want to really harass our opponent's economy with all these maces, and you can even send single maces in if your opponent is not defending there. And even clear out these archer groups out on the map with your maces. If you have like 4 or 5 maces, you can clear most of the early game archer groups on the map. And this is also the time where if you don't have wheat, and you have wood left over, because you're not really putting more weapon equal around, it costs gold. You spend that wood on bread, and you just buy like the first batch of wheat. And set up some wheat production facilities here to get your food stabilized, yeah. Of course, there's other ways to get more popularity, but they're usually more expensive. In case you have a lot of stone and a lot of wood, you can go for the beer economy here. It takes a long time to ramp up, also, or you can go for more of these chapels, as you can see. I just put some chapels around, and it usually gives me like +2, +4 popularity soon, and I can keep my -2 taxation going. Yeah, ramp up your production with wheat, because we have 1 wheat farm over here. You didn't know this yet. And yeah, spend the remaining wood. If you haven't set up all the hard resources, you of course want to grab all of the hard resources around, if possible. And yeah, you can sell your spears if you don't need them anymore. I would not recommend to sell the bows just yet, but if you have like crossbows, just sell those maybe. Yeah, set up enough houses to always have some population. I'm not doing a good job right now. This is a bit bad because I don't have enough population around right now, which is kind of a problem. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, if you have this gold left over, you really want to then, like after you like cleared out some archer groups, you have the map priority. Usually you can hold it if you have the mace production, you don't spend any more gold on eco. You usually should be able to hold the map. If not, it's also not a problem. You then gather up a lot of macemen. Let's say like 20, 30 macemen or something like that. And before the opponent can get into a sword economy, of course. And you push with everything you have on all sides at once. Yeah. You really all the defensive troops. Just gather them, put them a slightly bit forward to get your opponent tangled up, and just push him on all sides at once. Choke him to death, basically. And yeah, in this case, just get your economy in line to also have fast reinforcements here. You don't really care too much about food and popularity right now. You can really just push. And you have this timing attack. And what you want to do is really important. You like grab all your spears and maces and put them maybe on 1 or 2 control groups, right? And where are the other macemen here? You gather them up in one spot if possible. And yeah, if you do that, the important thing is that you stack well. So if you send these across, they are running, right? And then to stack even better, you want to have them all hitting at the same time. So you can grab some from the front, put them back a bit, and send them in immediately again. And that way they stack better. Especially if you stack better than your opponent, you can even beat his army with like half the troops or something. And then usually you kind of just win the game like that. So find one timing attack, defend the map, get really a lot of pressure on, and then push in. And then I think is like the second tier of Bootstrap. Usually it evolves around mid-game. You find some way to leverage the Maceman power spike, for example. Or you like leverage a knight power spike if you want to go for fast knights, that is also possible. You just push in and you just choke your opponent to death. Don't invest more into economy at some point and just use all of your gold. Kind of like in the early tier, yeah. but just the power spike hits a bit later. You need to have more control of the map, you need to have more harassment around. Basically the same strategy, just a bit further into the game, and a bit more difficult to control because you usually juggle around with some more control groups. So yeah, let's look at the last one. Let's look at how I think Bootstrap is actually played. Of course, my other teacher mates might disagree here. But yeah, this is kind of the beauty of how I think Bootstrap is played in general. And I will show you on this hill hopping map, which is kind of a good map to present the overall style, yeah? So there's basically action throughout the whole game. There's no time that you rest, I guess, yeah? Okay, so let's head into the game. And the first thing you want to do is place your granary, as always. Put some farms around, maybe. And put some houses. Put my lord to the front. And yeah, the first thing you want to do here is you place your mercenaries post. You don't wait so long. Of course, you want to season the farms if there's possibility to season. So I will season it like now. Right after the blooming ends. You sell 4 of each food type. Get -2 taxes. You don't want to bother with that. And you right away send troops across the map, right? That is the most important. You send the troops wherever it's most important. Here, in this case, it is usually on this map. Ah, shit, I sent them. I wanted to just hold them and then they run faster, but yeah, it doesn't matter. You get the point. So on this map, you want to really kill the wood supply from your opponent. So you want to attack the woodcutters if possible, and I will set up 1 quarry over here. And yeah, I don't really care if I lose 2 wood, I just place my stockpile to the front. And yeah, what you want to do is there's some food, and now you also want to defend your own wood supply. Wood is the most important resource in the start, so it's really, really bad if you lose all of it. In this case, there's a lot of wood on 1 point, and I could like go on and harass all of the sides of my opponent. I would usually just spend most on micro. You can even send your lord forward to take some arrows to the heart, and yeah, don't be bothered with it. What you can also do is you send one of your assassins to your enemy keep to kill their peasant supply, basically. You want to harass all around. You just want to micro your slaves behind the enemy building so they lose sight of your slaves and cannot defend. You want to sell as much food as possible. Maybe even yeah, you get of course more slingers to defend the different spaces on the map. And right now I have an army already, you can see, which consists of more troops than in what I had in my first strategy. Which is risky though, because I'm selling almost all my food, but you really want to put the pressure on. You can even send the slingers forward if you know the opponent doesn't have much to attack with anymore. You can send some of your slingers forward, push in with the lord even, and get all of their economy choked. We'll just emulate this by sending these around here a bit. And this is the time you spend on microing units. You always want to go back to your market, send some more reinforcement, maybe even another assassin or something. Use all your gold for attacking, really. And then as soon as the first wood comes in, you spread your economy out. I forgot the oxen here, that is not good, but let's assume I've placed that, because I'm explaining right now, I'm a bit caught up, and I place 1, 2 hops farm in this case. Hops is easier to sell and faster to sell in this case, so I will just go for the hops and go for some early iron mines. Go into whatever economy you can defend, really. The main goal is here to only set up economy that you can defend. So you, of course, if you set up economy, send some defenders there. You cannot leave the economy unguarded. If your opponent is on the same level as you, he will definitely attack every single place in your economy that he can. And that is a problem. Of course, you can also spend more on more woodcutters if possible. You probably have some lost some to harass us. Anyway, get more hunters. But yeah, whatever you can defend, of course. And you like now probably micro your lord back if you reach the goal to kill the opponent's granary or like you want to usually force out also some units, you know, and then get into some high ground position, defensive here in the middle of the map where you can still continuously harass from, get some vantage points. Yeah, these slaves basically all died, I guess. So let's send them up here, and these assassins probably also died, almost all of them, I assume, because your opponent is not bad, and you can also spend some on more defenders, yeah, right? Some archers. Try to accompany your archers also with some, yeah, say the first stone deliveries. With some slingers to really defend them, and then have more economy around that defensive position, right? That is the whole point. Yeah, get more of the hard eco, I would say. And because now you're defending your main economy with some, like you have defenders all around the map, basically, you're defending your main economy. Now, only now you start with producing more advanced economy, like get one Fletcher or two, yeah? The first Fletcher is really important. Because as soon as you get them, as soon as you hit with normal archers, you kind of make your enemy opponent's slingers obsolete, because slingers are really bad against archers, and you start to really hammer the point home. You can even push with your troops again, like push across the map a bit. If you find choke points as well, like on the first map we showed, yeah. And also be careful that your opponent doesn't all in your lord. You might want to move him back, but it's also useful to use your lord as bait, yeah. Have your lord around and know that if you can defend your lord in time, you can bait your opponent, right? Now your popularity usually drops quite low. Now what you do is also set up the first chapels here around your economy, where all of your peasants are passing by is the best spot. Yeah, sell more of these stone things. Set up some eco. And of course, spend most of the gold. You will also want to set up the brewers. Beer is way more valuable to sell. And we want to spend the gold, of course, on more harassment. And on more troops in general, right? So you want to spend most of your gold always on troops. That is the main purpose of the gold anyways, yeah? And now the two stone deliveries are coming in, and as soon as you have like 3 or 4 bows, it's worth to use the stone for your weapon production. So we will set up a third Fletcher here, also set up to yeah, set the first iron pitch, of course. And get more troops. Yeah, I'm really lacking on the troops front. I'm not really the best player to demonstrate how many troops you need to really play Bootstrap properly. And you also want to always spread some, like put some horse archers in. Maybe even get a 3 or 4 horse archer raid group to kill all your opponent's slingers. Then they need to retreat with the slingers. You can also retreat back with those slingers. Don't always just push forward, also retreat backwards, that's important. And really just maximize the resources on your side of the map to put out as much pressure on the map as possible. And yeah, at this point I have enough stone. No, I don't have enough stone, so I buy one time. And now I can maybe launch an attack on my opponent that might be killing, or if not killing, like I get these swordsmen. It might be so devastating that I can kill my opponent's economy, like some of it. That is usually the main point of these all-ins. Like, it's not really an all-in, but you just generate enough pressure to give you room for a transition, right? You like generate pressure with these Raven Swordsmen, for example, to give you time for a Maceman transition. So I'm deleting this for cheese farm. And I would, of course, maybe I cannot hold this hill, right? I would want to defend it from here, I don't care. Then I push in with my... let's assume this was this all died. Yeah, let's assume most of these slingers just died already, yeah. So that you can simulate this enough. Yeah, what I would do with the first spear is sell it, maybe even build one in already. get diverse popularity boosts. Increase your taxes without losing too much food. And yeah, get basically all the troops from the early game push to make this Maceman transition possible. Maceman, you really require Maceman for the mid game. You cannot forego the Maceman transition. You have to go for that. Really insane feat. And you also want to mod some of the sides, maybe even place some walls around, just so you have better understanding of where your opponent can come from, yeah? So these walls are not really giving you a huge advantage or anything, but you know where the opponent can come from. You just limit the choke points basically towards your opponent, to your economy entry. This is also the time where you might want to already start putting one of your guys here up to produce. Or just place it close to stockpile and close to armory as close as possible. And you want to produce. Let's assume we already have defend with some horse archers here in the early game, and we're also sending more assassins out. Maybe a big raid group over here. Sell the spear. And yeah, we can of course put some more woodcutters as soon as the wood runs out. Near your woodcutters, like this, please do. You want to delete them as soon as they deliver the last wood delivery, right? Yeah, these hunters are probably all dead. Maybe some of the food is still there, but yeah, you want to keep the control of the high ground, of course. So you would usually spread your archers around. And also continuously just pressure. I cannot emphasize this enough. I presume these all died as well. You like really continuously pressure. You can also claim the high ground from your opponent. Try to attack on both sides. And yeah, as soon as you have there's a magical transition period happening, basically you just go for these Macemen. Macemen Spearman pushes are really important. If you can gather up like in the last time, you gather up like a lot of Spearmen and Macemen, you also do this this big push with them, I guess. And really get going there. Let's get some slaves for digging. They're really cheap. And let's see, we have some more beer, so we can get the beer popularity boost. Get one more chapel in here. Yeah, but this map we have a lot of iron. We can really leverage this iron. Yeah, I'm not really getting pressured, so this is not really... yeah, at some point I would usually sell the spears, sell the iron, and get the stable. And as soon as you have the stable, you want to not only attack with your Macemen and your Spearmen, and not only harass with the archers and Spearmen around the map, right? You also want to use the overwhelming strength of your knights. And for that you can even sell bows or anything really. It is too much. And get those knights. And these knights, one single knight alone can kill like, almost an entire army already. They are so strong. This is a huge power spike, right? Let's assume these assassins have died off and we have harassed something with them. Let's try to claim these side hills. Of course, this side hill got pushed back and he claimed it back. So, and these horse archers at this point, they like retreated to this hill maybe, I don't know. This attack also hit earlier. Okay, we have the popularity, we can get some taxation going, even get to half rations usually, because you usually don't have enough food income, and you use the wood for other resources in the economy. That's why you don't have enough wood usually to go for bread economy right away. But if you have, of course, I recommend it. To just buy some wheat. Get this extra population and popularity boost, if you can. And yeah, these knights are so strong. You want to attack as often as possible with them. Knights are really one thing that yeah, that turns the tide. And at this point, usually you don't sell the pitch anymore. This is where the turning point comes. Yeah, usually you also want to gather up, of course, some macemen and spearmen. push. I'm not doing a good job here right now. Like you gather them up, you save your lord, maybe even wall in your lord. I don't really like to wall in my lord because it's kind of a cheesy strategy, and I usually like to bait with that. You can also use some dog cages for clutch defense if your opponent is like attacking your lord and you have baited him into that position. You can use your dog cages to defend. Get a second staple maybe, perhaps with more knights. Let's assume these knights have been killed. Let's also sacrifice these because these have probably been killed at this point. Yeah, your horse archers, if you can, also build a apothecary to heal some of your troops. Yeah. Plus 20 wood. So retreat them back and heal them up, basically, what I'm saying. And now you can start selling the weapons, yeah? You might want to go for a swordsman all-in. If you have 4 blacksmiths, you can go for a swordsman all-in by putting all of them swords and placing some more armorers around. You want to buy wood at this point, probably. And get like this, like some more armorers. Build a church if you can. Yeah, we don't have the stone right now, so it doesn't really matter. Also, be careful if the knights don't run into pikes or spears because they trade really efficiently. And at this point, yeah, you go for the cathedral at one point here, for the church, and you want to go for siege engines. And this is the point where you like have like 15 or 16 pitch maybe, that you sell all of the early game weapons. You switch your fletchers all to crossbows because the enemy is probably also coming with stuff like this. Put some pikes also up, or place some more fletchers for crossbow production because crossbows will become really important at this point. And yeah, you really want to go into that as soon as possible. Now you want to have shields. You have most of your wood you spend on shields at this point then, and oh shit, I've sold my pitch, that is not good. Okay, let's assume we didn't sell the pitch, we probably have not that much gold anyway, so fine. There's some more beer. Get this pitch going. Sell these weapons. Get the crossbowmen. And now you want to start building like a blob of doom, I would call it, where you basically build fire ballistas and even catapults with your army. You can see I get +2 popularity just from the food alone. You want to have 2 more of these around. Buy more wood. And yeah, if you want to do a swordsman all in, of course, you can do a swordsman all in. You also want to have some swordsmen with your army. But if possible, you have the cathedral and instead put a lot of monks with your army. That is usually a bit better. And yeah, let's put these up. Put more in front here. You want to put the shields on the first control group, then your supporting army on the second, and your like melee troops on the third. And you have like multiple of these. Right? Yeah, you have the... You like press 1 click, 2 click, 3 click, and that way they move really quick. You can also grab some troops and send them somewhere and then put the control groups over it. That is also fine. And yeah, what I want to demonstrate here is that at some point you want to leverage your positions that you've grasped on the map and really attack your opponent. For that, usually you need trebuchets, yeah? These cost a lot of stone. You might have sold stone, that is not good, like me. Usually you want to keep the stone. And at this point, you like put some single trebuchets around from where you can harass your opponent's economy. From here, basically, I can shoot the whole opponent's economy. I want to keep these safe, right? You want to have this death ball of doom that your opponent can only defend with his own catapults. And as soon as they go for catapults, you try to run in with your knights and try to kill those catapults. And if they have fire ballistas, you also want to have your own catapults, right? So that is one thing for sure. You want your own catapults and want to shoot your opponent's economy. Of course, you can try to kill any towers that they've put up with your trebuchets. And yeah, this is really the late game of Bootstrap. Yeah, most of it is like positional fighting around multiple armies that are set up with trebuchets and siege engines around the map. And the one who is able to push methodically better into the opponent's economy, have a better understanding of the map, usually wins. So you want to look for these possible choke points to defend and high grounds after the choke points, or like some positional points. Like if your opponent puts the eco here, for example, you would put a trebuchet here, right? You can also put a defensive trebuchet on your own field to try to snipe opponent's trebuchets and put some catapults around for defense as well, or some fire ballistas against the knights. Yeah, the fire ballistas are mainly against knights, and you also want to have always enough shields to cover your entire army, so that they don't just get shot by enemy ranged troops. But ranged troops are not that strong anymore. Only crossbowmen really. If your opponent goes for the swordsman all in, then you go for the crossbowman. But yeah, you can of course always also launch a surprise attack from the side. So if I select my army, I can also shift here and here, and they should attack. Wait, this doesn't work. I go here. This doesn't work. And here. And then they run there. With shift click, this seems to not work, but if you patrol and then send them this way, it works. Okay, anyways, thank you everyone for watching. I hope you have a better understanding now of Bootstrap. Of course, you can give a like and subscribe if you want to get more info about multiplayer. And there's a tournament coming up, so soon there will be nice videos around many Bootstrap games. I hope you're all enjoying yourself there. And yeah, swordsman all-ins mean you don't go like for more than 15-20 swordsmen. At one point, it's just not advisable to go for more than a specific number. Because, yeah, okay. It's just obvious there will be counterplay and you don't want to overcommit into one type of troops. Unless you're really sure that your opponent has no clue how to defend it, but at that point you could win in any way possible anyways, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed the guides. I hope you know now how to play Bootstrap, and I see you soon on the battlefield. Tomorrow will be the Rebalance explanation video. I'm looking out for that, and yeah, see you soon. Bye for now.